Hello, my friends, and welcome to the land of the rising manga that is the Asian Zone. I'm the Adman, and you're here for the first of my Is It Worth the Import series.
For this series, we'll take a look at the manga and light novels that are related to some more popular anime series, but have yet to see any sort of Western localization. From there, we'll judge whether or not it really does deserve to be localized, and the likelihood of it getting such.
With that in mind, who out there has seen and enjoyed a little series called Madoka Magica? Yeah, I figured as much. Now, who out there cried during the final episodes of this little anime? Come on, guys, don't try and be macho now.
Let's face facts, Madoka Magica is a depressing series, but in a good way. It was written as a much darker take on modern magical girl anime, and it shows. Now, that's not to say all modern magical girl anime are all sunshines and rainbows. Hell, the fact that I was able to tie Princess Pretty back to Danganronpa of all things should tell you something. Also, this face! Still, while that series was able to end on a mostly happy note, Madoka's ending was a lot more ambiguous to say the least.
It was still a fantastic ending, one that really didn't need any sort of follow-up like, say, a certain movie that doesn't necessarily need to be considered canon, at least I don't consider it to be canon. But still, after such heavy material, we kind of wanted some sort of levity, possibly of the more comedic variety, and thus our friends down at Magica Quartet gave us this little tankobon. Is this book's comedy enough that it'll make us forget about an anime that had so many tragic deaths in it that it gave its author the nickname of the Butcher? Well, let's take a look at Puella Magi Club Madoka Magica to find out. Want to take a read? For your convenience, as well as to hopefully get around some copyright infringement, I'll provide scans of this that have been edited and slightly translated when I felt it necessary.
The cover automatically sets up the tone this book is going for. Over the top, silly, and adorable. In the background, we got Sayaka and Kyoko gathering around Mommy, I'm guessing to make sure she doesn't get lonely. Though, I don't think they need to, as Gertrude's mustachioed minions, the Anthonys, are keeping her company. And in fact, Danielle and Jennifer are climbing on top of Sayaka. Yeah, more on their roles when we actually get into the manga. But first, let's talk about the centerpiece of this awesome cover, Homura. Just like in the actual anime, she's already stealing the show. She's holding up the sign for the titular Puella Magi Club, but apparently she forgot to lock up her little hammer space shield as a ton of junk is spilling out of it, including her chapstick, some bullets, a few grenades, her glasses, a Madoka plushie, some candy. Oh. Yeah, this book isn't so subtle about Homura's obsession with Madoka. Again, more on that later, but what I like about this plushie is the fact that it's wearing a Lawson store outfit, more than likely referencing the collabs they've done with those stores. The fourth wall, what's that? Our story begins with our core magical girls deciding to establish their own little after-school club. Well, to be more exact, it's mostly the idea of the co-presidents, Homura and Mommy. Homura wanting to use the club as an excuse to spend more time with Madoka, and Mommy just wanting the company. Yeah, in this manga, Homura's obsession with Madoka and Mommy's monophobia have both been raised to the nth degree here. This sort of over-exaggeration of a character's quirk is referred to as flanderization, and apparently it's become airborne as almost every character, except for maybe Kyoko, has caught it in this manga. In the case of our titular lead, it's made Madoka an even bigger airhead than ever before, as she just goes along with the whole club idea.
Even though she should really consider filing a restraining order against one of the presidents of this little club, still Sayaka is able to avoid becoming a caricature, for now, and thus asks some of the more obvious questions, like what exactly their club's goals are.
To which the co-presidents have no answers. To make matters worse, the student council comes in to try and shut down their club. Said council is made up of none other than Kyubey? Yeah, apparently in this universe, instead of focusing on contracting adolescent girls into biting H.P. Lovecraft's leftovers, they choose to run a student council at some Japanese middle school. I'd say that's weird, but it's nothing compared to the fact that said eldritch abominations are also attending this damn school! Apparently some peace summits or something were held, and now the witches and their familiars have somehow been able to integrate themselves into normal society. I'm not sure if they're students or not, but they're just walking around and nobody is even batting an eye at these things.
Then again, I wonder what it would be like to attend such a school. Ohayou gozaimasu, Yoshino senpai, baby senpai. Ohayou gozaimasu, Haruka-san senpai. Ohayou gozaimasu, Buta senpai. Now that I really think about it, this school is pretty plain. Curse my short attention span.
Anyway, the second chapter sees the girls try to fulfill the requirements of becoming an official club. Mami and Sayaka try to recruit the resident tsundere, Kyoko, into their ranks, while Madoka and Homer think of club activities. Homer figures they should just become a volunteer club, but when nobody comes a knocking, she decides to take matters into her own hands by making problems and then leaving a calling card for their club behind.
What could possibly go wrong? That's fine, that always happens.
Between this crazy stalker and Twilight Sparkle, purple never seems to be the color of sanity. Then again, at least Homer has good taste in her wrestling stables. Anyway, Homer's plan goes about as well as you think it would, but luckily Kyoko comes in to make the save and joins the club under the pretense she was going to get some free grub, including some cake. Though apparently there was some fine print on the back of the flyer that suggested club members might not get cake.
So in a way you could say that the cake is a... No, you're above that, Advan. Don't go for the low-hanging fruit.
Moving right into chapter 3, after...
The cake is up! I got that out of my system.
After successfully establishing themselves as a club, the troubles of the Puella Magi Club are far from over as Kyubei switches his focus onto getting Madoka to join the student council after she was somehow able to tell him and all of his buddies apart. Kyubei's reaction here, by the way, is so fantastic that I don't want to spoil it. I'll just say it ended up reminding me of a scene from one of my favorite John Carpenter movies. Madoka, of course, refuses Kyubei's offer, but he doesn't give up and threatens to force Kyosuke into becoming a magical girl in her place. Sayaka doesn't take the prospect of her man joining the ranks of the Earth Defense Club all that well, so she decides to take action, and finally succumbs to this frickin' flanderization flu that's been going around, and goes full-on yandere. She even somehow summons Octavia as though it was a damn stand or something to try and take him back. Of course, Kyubei was lying about the whole magical boy thing, but still managed to get Kyosuke to join the student council.
Though when you think about it, even if the boy boo really did exist in this world, I seriously doubt they'd want this hopeless gigolo joining their ranks. He was even able to somehow win over Octavia. Though I will admit, they are probably the best ship in this entire series.
Meanwhile, Sayaka takes the fact that her man was taken by evil space bunnies pretty well, only spending most of the next chapter saying her signature catchphrase. Speaking of said chapter, the Puella Magi Club gets their first real case, which is to figure out who's been sending anonymous love letters to a bunch of students, with pictures of himself attached to each letter, which includes shots of his rippling six-pack. Sexual harassment! Wanting to usurp Sayaka's position as the leader of the club while she's still a broken record, Homer manages to collect all of the pictures and pieces together that the culprit is none other than... Birdman.
Ah, jeez, dude. Could you go back to buying Michael Keaton? We already have more than enough weird imagery and fourth wall breaking in this book.
And apparently Sayaka shares my sentiments as she makes quick work of the oversized chicken that also sent her one of his special love letters, after giving it to almost everyone else in the school. Yeah, piece of advice, Jacques. Don't two-time the yandere. Chapter 5 sees a recovered Sayaka try to take back Kyosuke by stealing as many odd jobs away from the student council as possible, figuring that they'd have to release him based on a lack of activity. Mami joins her little crusade, but trying to fulfill the requests of students with very unique anatomy proves to be a bit much for the two. Eventually, they even take on a job to help Charlotte with a sore throat. You can guess how well this turns out. Thank the goddess this is a light-hearted comedy and someone still has a head attached to her shoulders. The final chapter of this volume has Sayaka teaming up with Hitomi in order to write an article for the front page of the school newspaper. At first they have trouble stumbling upon anything interesting to write about, even though they're surrounded by these things that would even confuse the doctor by their mere existence.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Thankfully, they're able to stumble upon an interesting story thanks to some nonsense orchestrated by Homura, so that she can land on the front page and impress Madoka. I'd say her Notice Me Senpai act is getting old, but Homura has just remained such a delightful troll throughout this that it's just great. Anyway, Hitomi saves the day, I guess, through some spicy curry bread, and Kyosuke comes up with a very unique article for the front page. But yeah, that's pretty much the first volume of Puella Magi Club Madoka Magica in a nutshell. It removes all of the drama of the original, flanderizes its characters to the point that they become almost unrecognizable, makes light of some of the most emotionally charged scenes in all of anime, and I love it. It's basically the slice of life story that director Akiyuki Shimbo wanted to make as Madoka Magica's second season. Before the rebellion story happened, and the less said about that, the less trauma I have to go through. But yeah, remember, this manga was meant to be levity from all the heavier moments in the original anime. So why not have some fun and parody some of the more serious scenes? Now, I'll admit, I do have a bit of a point of contention with this manga, as it does flanderize the characters. Madoka in particular becomes a bit of a non-entity at times just because she's become so freaking bubbly here. Still, that's kind of keeping in the spirit of this manga. This story really shouldn't be taken seriously at all. The witches are just walking around like it's nothing, and even if they are flanderized, all of the characters maintain their own unique charm. This is in no small part thanks to some fantastic art. All of the characters have a wide variety of hilarious and adorable expressions that perfectly complement every scene. There are also a ton of visual gags and little touches that are just a lot of fun to find and never make the pages feel busy because they're laid out so well. If you're a fan of Madoka like me who's willing to put aside his love for the great tragedy that was the original, or just want to forget that the rebellion story ever happened, I highly recommend keeping an eye out for this one. If you can read Japanese, I'd say just import this as now because it's not really all that hard to read since the plot is pretty damn straightforward. Otherwise, chances are really good that this will get localized by Yen Press on down the line. They've already published some of the more obscure Madoka spin-off manga after all. Hell, I'm surprised it's taking them this long to get to it as opposed to just doing another damn Oracle book. Currently the series is still ongoing with more volumes coming out.
There is at least a second volume to this, but for next time, I think it's high time we revisit a certain series that pretty much started up the Ace Zone. Until then though, farewell for now my friends. Hey man, I'm back. Oh hey Shin. By the way, thanks a lot for giving me a new background to make my videos with. Yeah, well, it's the least I could do after you let me lodge up here until we can figure out a way to send me back to my dimension. I mean, I just wish there was some way I could do a little bit more for you besides grocery shop and feed your pet. Which, by the way, do you really need this much cheese just for one mouse? Oh, baby's not a mouse. Oh, what kind of an animal is she? She's the kind of animal who makes sounds like that. But, didn't I mention that? No, you didn't! Well, don't worry, she only makes those sounds when she has a bit of an appetite. That doesn't sound like she has just a bit of an appetite, it sounds more like she's gotta eat guys like me whole. Well, I'm sure you can figure it out, don't worry, she doesn't bite that much. Wait,